Hello. Right. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I've got another screen to my left that has got the chat in it. So if you see me looking across that way, I'm just trying to find a good place to put it. Great. Hopefully levels are okay. Shout at me in chat if they're not. Hello, welcome. So I'm gonna hopefully do some live streams. Basically creating jams from scratch on the gear I have, and kind of following on from some stuff I did in January, where I did kind of the process as well as the jam. Going to use the Polyend Tracker Plus. Also, I'm going to try and go live every Wednesday morning. Some of them won't necessarily be jam stuff, depending on what's going on. There'll be some other things I do as well. But yeah, today we're going to create jam from scratch. So hopefully my over-the-shoulder camera's not working, so it's all going to be just top down. So hopefully you can see that and it looks okay and it's not too spud cam like. I swear that my phone used to, which is the camera up there, I swear that used to do a better job, but it's decided it doesn't want to at the moment. Great. Hi, Luke. Nice of you to join us. Let's crack on. I'm going to start with drums today because that's kind of the mood I'm in. To be honest, I have no idea what mood I'm in. It's all been a bit last minute as usual, and don't really know where we're going to go from here. Do I want to use internal synth or do I want to use the drum station? Is the next question. Internal synth, because I've just realised that to use other stuff I need to do things on the patch bay. Let's do it to internal synth to start with. There may be some faff and fiddle to go on. Right. So the tracker has an internal drum synth called Perk, which is pretty good. Gonna give it some reverb and then load a patch. So there's a bunch of presets that you can also edit and such like. Let's just use that one for now, and what I'll do is I'll put in some kicks and then we'll move on from there accordingly. Yeah, that's not a kick. So, kick. I like to put different drums on different tracks. Obviously it eats up space left to right in terms of the 16 tracks you've got, but generally with 16 tracks, 8 of which can be MIDI or the internal synths, I've never felt like I've needed to put everything on one track, and if I've needed to in hindsight, I've usually managed to just copy things across afterwards. Because that's the great thing about the tracker, is it's actually quite easy to copy things across. Oh, I know what I didn't do. So we started with a 32-step pattern here. I need to change the BPM, decide whether we're going fast or slow. Let's go fast. Go 165. could go really random, couldn't I? So I really like the metalwork kick on this, and I like the OG kick, which I guess is kind of like a 909 style kick. But I've somehow not used... why have I done D4? Let's use this tech step kit. I'm also going to try to remember to name as I go. Right, so if you want to audition steps, it's a lot easier without the sequencer running. Sure, this is riveting YouTube. Maybe not. Right, let's get rid of that one. Put one in here. Cool. So let's give those hats a bit more, make it a bit more interesting. So if we use fill, and then where there's no effects, we add volume and we make it random, and we do it from 60 to 70. Can't remember if that's about right, but don't worry if it's not. So fill. Yeah, it's about right. I'm going to take it out to those other notes. Why did I take it out for that one? Cool. So we've got a fast drum beat. Good one. I feel like it needs some kind of almost crunchy percussion noise. So let's find a sample. that. Let's then take that across here. And sounds like, how do I preview it? Like that. Like that. So if we, oh, we don't need that actually. Let's go to sample playback and play as a backwards loop. Cool. So if we if we bring the end in a bit, probably to about there. I'm going to crop it down and then I'm going to reverse it and then do some stuff with it in the sequencer. So crop it, reverse it, and you get cool. Right. Right, so I don't want that happening on the first one. So if I make the pattern twice as long, and then I can just copy this, paste it into the second half of it. So it's twice as long. Right. Then I might put another kick in there. I always do that. I forget I'm on instrument rather than being on note, and then I hit the pad and it switches my instrument rather than switching to the right note. Maybe put in a drum hit there too. And then where that second half of this pattern starts, gonna put in this backwards thing, and then gonna put a roll in somewhere. Maybe, let's see how this works out. So with the roll on here, if you don't give it any kind of stop or off command, it just goes on forever. So obviously where it's, well, obviously, but where it kind of gets useful is when you then add in like an off or a fade after a while. Command I hadn't used before. Cool. So got that little thing going on. thing going on. Cool. I'm going to call this. Right, bass. Where are we going today? What key do we fancy? Let's go. I might have to patch in the MP101 and the Neutron because I'd like some stuff out there, but we'll see what we get to. So we can get a sub in this. So when I've edited presets in the past, I've saved them as a second version of themselves. So they'll be subtly different. Oh wow. Okay. So we're on 64. We can do 128 on one pattern, but I think that's something we can do something where basically we can create like a long droning bass line across multiple patterns, which might end up being a bit unwieldy to work with, but with only 128 steps on one pattern, I think we're going to have to do that because I can't see how else to do it. There's probably a clever way to do it with probability. Maybe. So if I do that, and then I do 4 patterns in a row. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. I get. Starting to come together. the songs, just keep changing the patterns. I'm just going to stop that for now. So if we go back to our initial pattern, and we want something on top. So this is my favourite sample pack. It's a guy called Gerald one. It's really good. And it's not one where I've like heard all the samples used in other stuff, but then that could just be not listening to the right stuff. Except I don't think that it will work for what I want to do here, so let's go back and find this. So this is the Machine 1 library. Don't ask. And it's got loads of instrument samples, loads of tabla samples if you're interested in that. Yeah. Sorry, that one's quite hard. Don't know if you've heard that, that's my dog snoring in the background. Piano. Right, and this will throw up, I guess, where something like the Tonwerk can be more, can be easier to use, or has functionality that this doesn't, in that those samples were a musical note, but when you drop them onto a track, so this says piano 1, E flat 4, C5 will therefore be E flat. Whereas if you're obviously using something like the Tonwerk where you can multi-sample, you could multi-sample an instrument such that when you hit a C, you get a C. I think there is a way you can get around this on the tracker, and I might just try that, but it's just where it's where things have obviously sampled a certain note, and you're not necessarily ever going to get the note you want, so you can have to kind of have some brain melting process of figuring out what notes go where. Hang on just a sec. Cool. My screen over here just died, so for some reason. Right. So, C5 is E flat. This thing is gonna be an E minor maybe, so therefore that should be E. B4 is E, and from there we can figure it out. E, E sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, sharp, A. Envelope on the cursor. Maybe try and make that more subtle. Further piano. Prefer the piano. Let's get rid of some notes. trying to see if I could just send it off into a delay trail at the end of it, but I don't think I can. Kind of works. Oh. I'm an idiot. Right, so what I was just trying to do, where it was doing a repeat, a roll, and then fading out, there's actually a there's actually a setting for that. So your rolls in the FX section, you've got just like a standard type roll. Let's turn step jump off. Standard type roll, which repeats it forever. But then you've got RV, which I think makes it swell upwards, and RV capital, which I think makes it no, other way around. RV small makes it start loud and then get quieter. RV capital makes it start quiet and then get louder. So if I make that, whatever that was, that one, it should just do what I want it to do without me having to take up another effects lane, and then maybe I can put that delay thing on there. So there's this space control that basically increases the width, I think, of the stuff. Kind of works. Alright, hang on a second. My monitor over there, so I can't have it over the chat. Hi, like on Twitter with that. Nice to join us. Thanks. Don't know if this will work, but it's worth a go. Oh yeah, that's right. Right. Cool. So let's get rid of what I put here because I don't need it. And then let's just keep that as like a 2. Like an alternating pattern. Ah, maybe not, actually. Let's copy that. Because I think I went back to the root again there, didn't I? No, I went to A2. Okay, maybe we won't do that then. So I'm thinking out loud here. Let's keep this as a like a 2-bar loop that's alternating. So then we get something like this. I think that needs to change on the 4th bar. Okay, so where do we go from there? A, E, B. Hang on a second. B, E. So E, we went up 5 to B, so therefore we go up 6 to A. Right? Not 100% happy with that. If we go E, drop, then E flat, D, D flat, C, C flat, no, B, B flat, A. So that's down 8. So we started at E, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's try that. The only problem here is this jog wheel is really sensitive. It's really sensitive, so it's kind of hard to sometimes get where you need to get to. Oh, I could do that. Hang on. Maybe. Right, I'm going to leave that like that for now, and then I might come back to it. Maybe not on this video. What is it? It's like a lead line, maybe. Right, we had that other noise. The other sample, this, didn't we? I wonder, where's 33? So I'm wondering if there's some kind of like almost I bet it needs to be probably minor. If you can do some kind of like chordy, stab, echoey thing. So there's some days where I kind of feel like this is what I want to do. Like an idea in my head, or an idea, not even necessarily a fully finished musical thing, just like an idea in my head about where I want something to go or the way I want something to sound. Today I don't have that, so it's kind of a little bit freeform. So this, I guess, is just demonstrating how, on the tracker, if you want to do chords, you have to take up multiple lanes. And then the idea is that you can then render that down as a sample and then put that back in. Or there is a way, if you're using a MIDI channel to control an external synth, that you can basically do MIDI chords using only one lane or channel on the tracker. But yeah, in this instance, because we're using a sample, it has to be 2 lanes, so hence why, 3 lanes for a 3-note chord. So if I do an ascending riff part of that chord, I wonder how that'll sound. It's all a bit just going with the flow today. But I like that, what I just did with the chords. So, yeah, it's swings and roundabouts, isn't it? So, we will come back to that. Let's get rid of this. And lo, it was gone. Yeah, moving stuff around like copy-paste functions and creating or deleting stuff is really easy on the Tracker Plus. It also works in standard musical notation, unlike some trackers that work in hexadecimal. You can set it up to work in hexadecimal if you're used to working that way. I am not. So I just do it in standard musical notation. don't like that first thing. Hang on. This note, I don't think it should be this note, because I've just probably changed completely what key it is in with those chords, and it fits with the rest, but not with that. So what do we go? A, G, B, E, E2. C. Or F. Let's try C. That sounds better. And now, of course, we're in C major, A minor, because it's a nice, simple, standard key. Okay, right. That that chord note on this one I think is wrong. All of a sudden I'm going into it being a much more major thing. I regret music. we'll leave it at that now. Right. It needs something else, doesn't it? Let's take pattern 4. Let's. So clever little thing you can do on the tracker is you can select a range, like that, for example, and then if you press Shift and play, just loops that bit. Which means that you can kind of audition a section. And what I'm thinking here is that taking that section and then creating a little fill or drop or whatever you want to call it. I don't probably never created a drop in my life, but yeah, just like something else, a section to go along with, to break it up and create transitions into different bits. So if we put that there, let's make this pattern 16. So actually then create a kick and then bit of a drum roll. Do you want that under the drum roll? Let's have a listen. So instead of using the roll function, just actually creating a roll and then using the velocity to humanize it a bit or give it some emphasis for this section, and then we're gonna, I've dropped it in one place, and then we're gonna need some bass, so delete. What's the bass? The bass is coming from ACD, and what's our normal note? Sorry. Should be some kind of tally as to how many times I do that. Press the instrument instead of the note. Right. Doing a clap for some reason. That was weird. I didn't tell it to do anything and it did something. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. But yeah, fun times. Cool. That seems to work. So we can add a slot there and put pattern 5 in it. Maybe do it twice. And then go back to our... Normally I'd name the patterns as well, but yeah, we'll just call it our 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern thing. And then go through our initial bit. I know what's wrong here. I made the first bass note a C. I think that should be an F. Let's see if that works better. Crazy Rabbit, thanks. Right, if I was doing this as an actual song, and I probably will do eventually, is I'd actually do this twice before I went into that other bit. I probably won't actually play through all of that because that would be annoying. And then lead, do the little fill bit, go into a lead bit. I'm going to do this. What we got left? WGFM. So this is a wavetable FM synth thing. I don't really know how it works. My synth knowledge is poor, and wavetables confuse me. It does some good presets though, and I haven't really played around with trying to create my own yet. Let's do craziness. Events 3. Oh, we could do that. Let's fill the whole thing. And use Euclidean to create some kind of lead melody over the top. In using the Tomvote recently, I have actually missed having a Euclidean sequencer. There's 48 events. We have no idea what key we're in. Minor. Random. Let's do it from A2, A3. So, do that first. In the config on this, you can, on a project basis, have a note scale. I have got it set to chromatic. Which means that, for example, if this is in A minor or whatever, D sharp and A sharp wouldn't be in the key. But the rest of the stuff kind of follows that note scale if you do it, kind of like Forster scale on other devices. But I use it very rarely because it also sets the rubber pads to that note scale. Excuse me. And I get really confused then as to what notes what when you hit the rubber pads, whereas when it's chromatic, each row is an octave, and it makes more sense. So what does that sound like? figured out the batteries. Was that too random? I think the notes that are out of key are starting to grate on me a bit. Oh, did I just take that down an octave? Not sure it fits with the other bits though. So let's go through and just get rid of those sharps. Right, that's that one, 4. Not the most exciting thing to watch. Harking back to my Eurorack comment, genuinely, if I had the money, I'd probably create some kind of rack just to do this kind of randomized generative creation, lead creation kind of stuff. Because I think having the ability to do that and then tweak it really easily with knobs and things is probably where it shines. Right, now I wonder if I do... I'm wondering if I can use... chance to randomize it, or to give it more of a random feel. So if we make it from 60 to 90 and fill it. Do you know what? I want that to be patterned too. So, thinking about how this device compares to others, without wanting to get into GearTube, I feel like where this shines, grotesque step, that works, is the ease of doing things like adding chance on a step. If you were doing that on an Electron box, as far as I'm aware, you'd have to go into each individual step and change do a parameter lock for the probability. Whereas on here you can just select the entire lot, do a fill for every note or every no note or whatever with chance, and just fill it all in one hit. It's not necessarily going to come out as the perfect sounding thing you want, but then it's pretty easy to go in and tweak that. And you can do things like selecting all of those effects on that track and, you know, increasing them all by one or a lot, or decreasing them. So you can do a lot more bulk actions than you can on some of the boxes, which is great. And I like. I think where other things like, so I'm comparing to Electron boxes because I've recently been using the Tomwerk. I think where they excel is that they have better effects, more varied effects, and better end of chain stuff like EQ and mastering. On the Polyend Tracker Plus, you can affect the EQ of a sample, but you have to basically go into I didn't want to do that. Hang on, delete. The sample editor and, you know, physically alter the EQ using graphs, which is not as visual as, say, you know, the ADSR envelope on an Electron box. But then, I mean, you do have an envelope on this for things, so you can get, you know, volume envelope with a tacticate sustained release amount. But again, it's not as visual in quite the same way as having that little thing on the Electron that shows you what you're doing. So we're going off topic, but I feel like the sound shaping on this, it's as powerful to a degree, but it's not as visual or user friendly. And then the end of chain stuff, it doesn't have the same end of chain elements that an Electron box does, and, you know, it has a limiter, but I've never got it to sound very good. It's fine if you want to do some kind of side chain to the kick, make it pump kind of thing, but I've never got it to kind of sound or do like a little bit of compression to give you a end of chain sounds great type affair. Whereas, yeah, working on the Tomwerk at the weekend, I felt like I literally could just take what I created on that straight into a computer, straight onto a video, and it was done. It didn't need too much, you know. I just made it louder in the computer. With a, you know, with the Polyend Tracker Plus, I always feel like I need to do some compression on it and some EQ to get it sounding how I want it to in a DAW before I can put it into a video. So there's it's really powerful. It has its benefits, but then it also has its drawbacks. But that's true of every piece of gear. But equally, it works because I've literally sent my Tomwerk back yesterday because it's got a bug where one of the controls glitches back and forth between some values, and so you're trying to like do stuff, and all of a sudden, the like level thing at the top pops up and goes 118, 110, 120, and gets in the way of what you're doing. And also had the glitch on naming, so that you're trying to like name something, and it's going off the letter you're trying to select and disappearing off into the characters. And apparently it's not all Tomwerks, it's just some of them. So I sent it back and hopefully get a refund, and then maybe try and buy another one, possibly from my local synth shop, which would what I should have done in the first place. I don't know why I didn't. Where I can physically go and talk to people and test things, and then if it could take it home and it doesn't work, I can bring it back and say, look, it's doing this. And I'm not the only person who's had that glitch. So it seems quite prevalent, but equally, it's not every unit from what I can establish, but nobody's really mentioned it on any of the other videos I've seen. So I might do I've got some footage, I might do a little short about it or something. So the Polyend Tracker, again, I've heard people say it's crashed on them and they've had bugs and stuff, and I've had it crash on me once. I can't remember what I was doing. But generally it's pretty stable. It does what I want it to do. And it's pretty good. It doesn't want to be, it wants to be the master and everything though. That's another thing I've kind of discovered, because I thought I could use this with my Tomwerk, kind of like other people have like a Digitac and a Tomwerk, because I like the drum beats I create on this. I always almost randomly throw stuff down and I like how it sounds, but you can't, it doesn't take pattern or program changes, so to change the pattern you have to send it a CC message, but that doesn't instantly change the pattern. It basically cues it for when that pattern's played through to the end. So if you send it a CC message, say you change the pattern on your Tomwerk, and the first step in your electron, your Tomwerk, you put in a CC message to change the tracker pattern, so that, you know, your melodic stuff going on in another box, you change to a new melodic pattern, and you want your drums to follow it. It won't. It'll wait the length of the pattern on the tracker before it changes, which means you've then got to send it that number of steps in advance. And I found a workaround using the fill button on the Tomwerk, but it's kind of limiting because you then need to know which pattern you're going to next. You can't just have a MIDI step on pattern 1 that changes to pattern 1 on the Tracker Plus, and a MIDI step on pattern 2 that changes to pattern 2 on the Tracker Plus, which means you could then go, oh, I fancy going to pattern 5 now because of how the song or the jam's developing. I can do that. You need to be, you need to be 16, 32 steps, or however long your tracker pattern is, in advance, being like, oh, I need to push a button here to cue it up on the tracker to change when I change, so therefore I need to know next I'm going to go to this pattern, because I've had to create that that fill with a MIDI trigger in it to say when we get to the end of this bar on the Tomwerk, it's going to change the tracker to pattern 2. So it's less flexible. So it'd be nice if Polyend listened to everybody's feedback, because people have fed that back, and gave you the option to change its behaviour in terms of how it changes patterns, or for it to accept program change messages to change pattern perhaps. So that's kind of annoying. It doesn't want to play nicely with other boxes very much. It's great to control other boxes, but it doesn't want to be controlled. So the MIDI implementation on it is actually fairly limited in places. But yeah, it's still a great little box. Where are we at? So an hour and 34 minutes. Right, so I reckon think, in terms of structure, I think that pattern 1 is not a good starting pattern. I would go 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, and then I'd almost add 1 in as a lead into that, and then 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. I'm not entirely sold on that lead either, it's a bit weird. So then that would do something like this. In fact, pattern 1, bring this down. So this is another thing to mention. If you alter the length of a pattern, it's non-destructive. So I can bring this down to 32 steps, so halve its length. But if I change my mind in the future and then increase it to 64, all the stuff that was there previously is still there. So that means that you could, in theory, create a really long pattern and then be like, actually, I don't like that. Let's chop it down, and then be like, oh no, I do like that, and bring it back again, which is kind of quite good in my book. Which means that gets rid of the chord on that pattern 1. That's better. I like that. So I can use pattern 1 to kind of transition into a transition or something like that. Right. I've been doing this for an hour and 40 minutes almost. I'm not happy with that lead. I don't know what to do next. I'm out of ideas at this point in time. And I think I'm going to stop. But yeah, the Polyend Tracker is great. I find it really inspiring, definitely for drums. I feel like it makes me often get to a point where I need to step away and come back to it more, which is fine, and probably something I need to do more anyway, rather than just cracking out some 4 minutes of noise and then being like, yep, done. I think I need to be more iterative in my process. So I think it kind of challenges me to work a little bit differently to how I normally would. I think it's a great little box. And to be honest, I have the Mini. The Mini's brilliant because it's all of this in a tiny box you can take anywhere. So it's like you go on holiday somewhere, or you're going away for a bit, and you just take the Mini with you and sit there for a couple of hours or an hour or just anything in an evening or whenever, and just create a little song on your Tracker Mini. And then I got the big box because then I can just swap the SD card into this one, and then it's able to talk to all the synths in the cupboard. And I was kind of like, with the Tomvik, I was like, well, do I need the Tracker Plus on my desk? Especially with the MIDI issue where it doesn't change the pattern on cue. But it does have its benefits in terms of using the keyboard, and more readily able to access the performance effects, which, to be honest, I mostly use for auditioning ideas. But yeah, they are there if you want to get crazy and randomize patterns, and you can mute and unmute things from the performance page. But yeah, I'm going to call it a day there. Thanks everybody for joining us and for watching. And I'll be back next Wednesday about 10:30 GMT. I think next Wednesday I need to do a shorter one. So I'm probably going to do a live looping Dawlish Jam show where I go through some other channels that I've discovered and and talk about other people's work. And then that doesn't take, that's a bit shorter. And then, yeah, go from there. But yeah, if you can join us then, that'd be fantastic. All right, well, bye for now.